And we welcome you into the Rowdy Studios with Buzz Color. I'm Bass Masters, and look who's in the middle.
It's Bob Pockris.
It's not a monkey. It's Bob Pockris of SceneDaily.com.
Why would you compare Bob to a monkey?
Monkey in the middle. You never heard of that game?
Oh, should we do this thing?
If you want. I don't know if we can do that these days. There's a lot of evil going on out there on the racetrack.
As long as there's no footballs.
No footballs.
Okay, thank you.
Let's talk, Mr. Pockris, about this chase heading into the first race. Favorites. Who do you like and in what order? Who's the top guy you like going into this chase? Is it Jeff Gordon? Is it Kyle Busch? Jimmie Johnson? Carl Edwards? Line these guys for us.
Kevin Harvick.
Well, I mean, Jimmie Johnson, you're like, he's won the last 5, so he's got to be right there in the mix. So if you're asking me for a prediction who's going to win, I'm going to say it's Jeff Gordon.
Okay.
I mean, I think the drive for 5, right?
It's alive.
One for the thumb.
Yeah, it's been alive for 10 years. You know?
Yeah.
But I think it's got a big spark this year. To me, he's been the most consistent, strongest driver the last couple months.
And he told you that this is the best he's felt in the Chase era going, you know, in terms of his ability to vie for the championship. Better than in 2007 when he and Jimmy took it down to the last couple races.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing he really has, I mean, he really could have won 6 or 7 races instead of just 3.
Yeah.
And
well, the thing I like, Bob, is you've got this crew chief swap at the beginning of the year. He had some good runs, but there was inconsistency with Alan Gustafson. But now you don't see that inconsistency, which says to me those guys are on the same page. Their communication is good. Jeff Gordon's feeling good. He doesn't have those back problems. Feels like he's going to be competitive with Jimmy. You know, I think it's all right there.
But Jeff Gordon said that Gustafson sort of complement. They have different strengths, whereas Gustafson has made Jeff better at Phoenix, for instance, you know, which I think is interesting.
So Jeff Gordon's your top guy.
Jeff Gordon,
Who's next?
Jimmie Johnson, Kyle Busch.
Okay, in that order.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I would say in that order.
2 and 2A, shall we say?
2 and 3. You can say 2
okay,
and 3.
Okay.
I can be. I'll be
good.
Definitive.
All right.
So what's interesting then is who do you put ahead, Carl Edwards or Kevin Harvick in terms of that 4th and 5th guy?
Because both those guys have been.
I'm going to put Carl Edwards, and then I may even put Matt Kenseth ahead of Kevin Harvick.
Just based on the equipment, it sounds like,
well,
Bob.
Kenseth, I think Kenseth is a guy who's going to finish 5th to 10th every week, and if a lot of guys have problems, he's going to be there to pounce.
Kenseth is a guy who could sneak into a championship.
Well, you could see Matt Kenseth going out and, say, winning at Chicagoland. Avoiding the bad finishes, getting some good finishes on days when maybe his car isn't that great, going there and winning Texas near the end of the chase and just being there, you know, and then it's anyone's game. I mean, you could see that happening.
Kenseth won at Texas and Dover this year.
Exactly.
They're both in the chase.
Exactly. Yep.
You know, Harvick, yeah, they rebounded, obviously, last week at Richmond, winning the race, but I'd still be a little bit concerned about how bad they were for that stretch there in the last couple of months.
So is the key to this thing the downforce tracks, or do you look at it a little differently?
The key is not having trouble.
Right.
The key
There's one big move in NASCAR. There's one big points event that happens, and that's a wreck or a bad, finish.
Right. And I think the key is to run well till you get in Talladega, survive Talladega,
right,
and then make your moves at Martinsville.
Yeah, qualify good at Martinsville.
Exactly.
Stay near the front.
Because while you can't afford to have a bad points day, you can't really afford to go points racing for 10 races either. You have to get out there and get some top 5s and maybe even win a race or 2.
Yeah, I think it'll take at least a win, probably 2 to win this chase.
I mean, the thing of it is you say you can't points race, but you really have to avoid the bad finish.
Right, so there's a balance between those two.
You really can't take any unnecessary risks. You have to live to fight another day.
Yeah, and I don't know whether you can even control a bad finish.
Sometimes you can't,
in reality,
obviously.
The thing that you've got to avoid is the mechanical failure and getting caught up in a wreck.
But I go back to last year's chase and Tony Stewart in the first race, the fuel mileage gamble. It's just not a good play. The benefit is not there for you, right?
It's not, but
not early in the chase. Now, if you got behind, then I could see it.
Right. I mean, I think you got to look at what
you can't risk losing 30 points to gain 2 points. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right, but I think you can risk losing 15 to 20 points to get that win, because that win's going to be those 5 points can mean a lot.
Okay. Well, that's how we see it. At least that's how Bob sees it. We kind of agree.
We see it through Bob's eyes.
We always do. For Bob Pockris and Buzz Cutler, I'm Bass Masters, and we will see you next time right here in the Rowdy Studios.
Rowdy.com. Say it like it is.
Say what like it is?
Rowdy.com.